Screen printing is an art. We get it. No one particular way to do a job. This is just our take on it, with some quick tips to help you elevate techniques while improving efficiency in your shop. All that and add a dash of Business 101, and you've got yourself a series. For anyone out there, press for time.
What's up, guys? Damien from Dynamic Supply with another episode of Press for Time. I get a lot of guys asking me, hey, Damien, I want to get into water-based printing. And I see that maybe that's really not what they need. What they really need and what their customers are looking for is what I call soft hand printing. So water-based printing is a really neat way to print product. You get rid of really light hand, but you've got to be competent at it. There's a lot of ways to go wrong with water-based printing, and it's good to do, and you can get good at it, but you got to do a lot of practice. Requires a little bit different technique on drying, requires a little bit different technique on printing, can dry up in the screen, some stuff like that. Not to scare you off from it, but it may not be necessary for you, and this might be the best place to start. So I call this simulated water-based printing. Basically what you're doing is you're going to take your base plate you would normally print in plastisol, so you'll get that nice white base plate, which is great to print on top of, but it's going to give you a lot of hand. It won't be able to give you that soft hand feel. And what you do is replace that with what I call a discharge base plate. So what you'll do is you'll take discharge, mix it with discharge agent, and then we discharge the area. So you can see it doesn't go to complete white, it goes to more of that natural cotton color. But that gives you enough of a light base plate to print on top of that you can use traditional plastisol, base down with some good basing method like Softy Base is my favorite, 15 to 30%, and you can get that kind of faded soft hand feel that you're looking for water base that your customer may not really want water base, they just want soft hand. So some of the advantages here are going to be, this is going to be a cheaper method to go. So you can still do an upcharge for a soft hand print when it may not be any more additionally expensive to you to do it. And another advantage would be that instead of having the hand of that base plate under it, so it's pretty clear that it's an all plastisol print, you're going to be able to get it down to this. There's no hand to this at all. You take your normal plastisol colors, base them down. The nice thing about Softy Base from QCM is it's 100% curable. So sometimes when you're looking at different reducers out there, make sure it's curable. You can use a non-curable reducer, but I kind of like these because you can't really mess up. If you use a non-curable reducer and you use too much of it, the plastisol won't cure, it'll wash out, it'll chip off, it'll crock, some different things can happen. You want to try to avoid that. So again, this is a great way to add a new component to your printing and to get something that your customers may be wanting and to get a little upsell for yourself. It's a really simple process. So let's get down to a little bit more brass tacks on how to do it. You're going to take your discharge base. We carry two great discharge lines, water-based lines, Rutland and Matsui. You're going to take your discharge base, and the way discharge base works is you have to use an activator. It's called discharge agent. You're going to use 4 to 6% discharge agent. Once you activate it, it does have a shelf life, so you want to make sure that you're activating just enough to do that base plate or that print you're going to do. You'll take your screen, you'll print your base plate like you would normally print a plastisol white base plate, and you're going to print it. I like to flash it in the next head to get that discharging chemical reaction happening. What that's going to do is remove all of that dye from that area so you go back to the natural cotton color. And then that's going to give you the ability to take your normal plastisol colors, print them wet on the rest of the press, use Softy Base or another reducing product to give you the really, really soft hand. Kind of makes the ink thinner, makes it softer. So you might want to check and run some different tests with it on some different mesh counts. You might not need to use the same mesh you normally use for plastisol because it is going to be thinner. And then what you do is you print it and you're able to still get nice color, but almost no hand. Somewhat that water-based look is kind of that soft, vintagey look, so the more that you add of Softy Base, the less color you're going to have. So you can really kind of create however of a soft, vintagey look you want, and obviously it makes it softer and softer and softer. So that's a great way to go. That's a little bit more like brass tacks of actually how to do it.
I would just finish it off from there then.
Okay. So remember, if your customer's looking for water base, maybe ask them, are you really looking for water base or are you looking for soft hand? Because this is still kind of in your wheelhouse if you're just printing plastisol. You don't need to learn something all over again. You don't need to do any of that. What you will need to do is just remember those steps. Print it as a base plate, flash it to get the chemical reaction started, print wet on wet with base down plastisol, run it through your dryer as slow as possible. Water-based requires time, so you're gonna let all that chemical reaction happen, and then you can get a really nice, soft hand, still get good color. You get a print like this that's a big, oversized print. If you printed this all in plastisol, not base down, it's gonna feel like a big patch, and that's really not what a lot of people are looking for at this point. So that's simulated water-based printing in a nutshell. If you have any questions, you can always call us at dynamicsps.com, but also remember, upsell. This is a great feature. You should get paid for it. Now get back to work.
This episode of Press for Time has been brought to you and powered by Dynamic Screen Printing Supply and produced by ProQuoter. Remember, it all starts with a quote.
Seems like the only time I can get the intro right is when we're not recording and when we're not doing it for a take.